Hey, it's Drybear, and today I want to make sure you don't make a crucial mistake in your Throne and Liberty journey, especially starting out on launch. See, personally for me, I haven't found anything in Throne and Liberty that I want to actually convert and spend money on, and I plan to be completely free to play when the game comes out. And if you didn't know, this game is somewhat pay to win in that people can spend money to get the in-game hard currency, the premium currency Lucent, and then use that to buy items off the auction house, which means they can get power. However, they cannot buy upgraded materials or upgraded gear, and they can't also buy gear that is the best in the game, like the end game gear. They're limited on what they can purchase in the auction house. So if you're planning to be free to play, or you're a low spender, and so if you're planning to be free to play and you're a low spender, the biggest advantage people who spend a lot of money in this game are going to have over you is really just during the leveling process, when they can pick up blues and purples to help accelerate their leveling and their growth while they're moving through the game. But there is a system built in for people that don't want to spend a single dollar on the game overall to make sure they are caught up in their gear progression as well. And that is the Lithograph book right here. So if you go to your Throne and Liberty menu and you go to all your different settings, when you finish the tutorial, you will have access to the Lithograph book. And this thing is a savior if you understand how to use it properly and what to look for as you're progressing all the way until endgame. So what is the Lithograph book? Well, it's really just a list of recipes, and you will destroy items that you collect and put them into your recipe book. When you complete a full recipe, you will get the rewards listed on the right side. And you'll notice that these start at the very lowest value items in the entire game. Common grays that drop from random mobs out in the world, or things that you can buy for a very small amount of solant from merchants as you pass through towns. And you'll notice that as you start finishing these, you can get green recipes, you can get materials for upgrading skills, for upgrading armor, for upgrading accessories, weapons. You can even start unlocking recipes for some of the higher gear. And one major thing to note is that this progresses with you as you get higher and higher tier. So there is, in the bottom left, you can see there's a common tab that shows all of the common recipes. There is a uncommon tab, and there's a rare tab and an epic tab, which has all the precious items as part of that. So what you could do, and what I highly recommend doing, is pick a main weapon or your weapon combo, and then do these recipes as you're leveling. Because what you can do is, when you have the item available, so I have this trainee soldier's iron gloves, a gray that just dropped from a random mob I was killing, you can add this to the recipe, and when you do, it will destroy the item in your inventory, clearing up space. And then when you finish all of these, you can collect the resources. But you'll notice that as you finish these and go up to green, you can actually start combining these together to get through the tiers on specific weapons. So say you were using longbow as your main weapon, you can combine all 4 types of the green longbow together, and it will give you the blue longbow. Same thing goes for the next tier up. You can combine all of the blue crossbow types together and get the purple crossbow, and you can move all the way up to the highest level and get some really nice gear as you go along. But what's great about this too is not only can you just buy these from vendors, so you see that you can go and buy these from vendors if you walk along. Some of these, if you click on them, you'll see that they come from random mobs or vendors. You'll see which vendor, if you click on it here, you can see which vendor they come from as you go through. And a lot of these will actually just come from monsters in the world, which tells you where to go to farm. So say we wanted to get the sentry leather boots because we wanted to finish this recipe, we can see that it drops from goblin butchers in Urstella Fields, and we just gotta go exactly there and kill goblin butchers until they drop it, and we've got it. We can finish that Lithograph book recipe, unlock whatever we're after, and we can keep our gear up to date by using this system as we level through the game, so we don't have to constantly look for crafting materials, wait for the recipes. As soon as you get to the rare quality, the blue quality, and you go to the crafter, your recipes are now going to be a big limiter, because rather than having just an overall quality of build, so if I go here and I go to crafting, you can see that I actually require outside of just that, I need, for these higher level gear pieces, I need the specific recipe to make that item. Rather than the green level, which is just a generic lithograph weapons or lithograph armor, it's actually the actual item, cast iron golem smasher. I need the exact sharp spiked horn bow. So once you get to green quality, your quality green gear, and you want to move up to blue rare gear or even purple precious gear, it's going to get much harder and your gear progress will slow down, and you'll either need to do dungeons over and over, spend your extra currency, try to get drops for the weapon you're looking for. It may drop as a different weapon. You'll be forced to use a different weapon, or you have to farm these extra lithographs or buy them off the auction house by using your precious lucent to do that. Or you could just use the built-in system to progress through that. And if you're aware of this, when you make your character, you can plot out your plan on how you're going to go through and make this happen. So what I would do is go to the vendors, buy the gray weapons for a very small amount of gold, then make sure the ones that drop from mobs, you just go find that mob, farm it, do the quests in that area anyways that you were going to do anyways as you pass through, and then collect the materials you need to upgrade your skills, upgrade your gear, upgrade your weapons, get your lithographs, and then when you're ready to get to green level, use all those materials you got from the gray quality tier to craft one of each of the weapon you use primarily, and combine them inside the lithograph to create a blue version of the weapon, and then do the same thing again for the purple, and you can stay with your main weapon and keep it upgraded with you as you go along. Now there's one caveat here, is that when you destroy it by putting it into the lithograph book, you won't be able to transfer the XP. So this is mostly just for leveling. Once you get past to a certain point, you're going to want to find the really good gear that has the traits on it that you want, farm those traits, put the traits up, level it, and make it better. But as you're leveling, instead of just highly investing in this, or just maybe do a little bit to get a little bonus for it, you're going to be placing your weapons constantly. Use that system to get you through the game, so you're not hard stuck on very specific low-end gear, or you're like, you hit 30 and you don't have the eye level requirement in order to get into the next dungeon, or you hit 40, you don't have the eye level requirement. You need to keep up with your gear progression, and there are systems that allow you to do that even if you're free to play. The next thing to be aware of is using up your dimensional contract tokens intelligently. You're going to get a certain amount of these every single 24 hours. Every day that passes, you will get an allowance of the dimensional contract tokens, and you'll use these by going into dungeon encounters, completing the full dungeon, and after the last boss, there will be a chest that you can open that gives you gear as well. Now, don't worry, based on the difficulty of the boss and the level required to get into it, the cost of the chest that you redeem is going to be higher and higher, which means the lower ones you can do multiple times and get the same amount. And most of these end up being, even though they're like 10, 20 levels apart, they can end up having the same quality gear coming out of them, just different gear. So plan around this as well. Maybe before you start crafting and you start going into it, do a dungeon. Once you unlock the solo dungeons at 15 or the group dungeons at 20, complete them, pull the chest, see if you get something nice. Maybe you're running longbow and a crossbow, but you get a blue sword. You want to swap that in and use it for a short time until you get an upgrade for either of your bows and start using those as well. You also get some nice weapon mastery increases for you, which will help a lot in the long run in getting you caught up towards the end game. And then just do these regularly until you've used up these currencies, and then craft, and make sure you're using the lithograph book as well to keep yourself updated. You don't have to go to the auction house and buy things. You don't have to spend money. You don't even have to worry about this as long as you're aware of the resources you have available to you as a free-to-play player going through the process of getting to end game, when you finally unlock all the best gear and all the best customizations that you'll have access to then. The other thing to be aware of is to join in on group activities. The biggest part of this game is the sieges, the PvP, the guild activities. Get in a guild early or make that guild early with your friends, contribute to it, and be part of the activities, because a lot of these can drop amazing gear. You get some very custom resources, some resources that only come from those group activities, and that will give you nice big boosts in power as well. And if you plan to be leveling with everyone either on the early access servers or the launch servers, you'll still want to keep up and do those group activities, and you might be surprised with what loot comes out of it that might give you a nice big jump that helps accelerate your leveling process. So I just wanted to give out this PSA before we go into the launch of Throne and Liberty here in September. Make sure you keep track of what you're planning to do in the game and have a nice path laid out for you. And if there's other guides or content you want me to cover, put that down below. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.